Welcome to Rewatch-and-Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Naruto Chunin Exams Arc, Episode 24, Start Your Engines, the Chunin Exam Begins. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happens in the episode. So this is going to be a short episode because ultimately what happens in this episode is the written test begins. The various genin try to get away with cheating because the test is designed to allow them to cheat a certain number of times in order to answer questions that are beyond what should be their skill level unless they are actually a genius. And this is to test their information gathering skills. And of course, if they get caught too many times cheating, they are then thrown out because it is shown that they don't have information gathering skills. Naruto spends most of the episode freaking out over the fact that he doesn't want to cheat because he's, noble like that and doesn't realize that the test is actually not the questions on the paper, but their ability to gather information. And then we also see some of the other genin like Gaara and Dino and Ten figuring out, again, clever ways to cheat to either not get caught or not get caught enough times to be kicked out. But again, that's all that happened. So now that we've been reminded what happened in the episode, we'll rank the episode first on the mostly objective ranking list, and then on the personal ranking list. So we have our multi-arc supporting character growth, and this just has to do with the cheating techniques. Ino uses a mind-body switch technique, which we see for the first time, where she sends her consciousness into somebody else, looks at their paper and the answers, and then returns to her own body in order to fill out her test. And Gaara uses his third eye made of sand, which I believe we see also later on in the competition tournament portion. Anyways, he uses his third eye of sand to be able to see. Those were the only ones worth points because they were actual jutsu, but we did see Ten, for example, using her, using like strings and mirrors to allow Lee to see the answers. And anyways, basically, that was because not a lot happened in the episode and they were just writing a test. That's essentially it, which makes this a 6 out of 10 episode. And so that brings our mostly objective ranking to in first, identify yourself, powerful new rivals. A new chapter begins, the Chunin exam, Chunin challenge, Rock Lee versus Sasuke, Genin takedown, all 9 rookies face off, and then in last place we have Start Your Engines, the Chunin exam begins, which is this episode. So for my personal ranking for this episode, not a lot, like as far as summarizing the episode, not a lot happened. However, the main content of the episode was more in the various thoughts of the characters, the way that they were cheating, how they were figuring out what the actual purpose of the test was, as well as Naruto's freak out about not wanting to cheat but not knowing how to answer any of the questions, and it being a paper test, which is obviously his weakest point because he's not known in the universe for being overly bright, at least in regards to paper testing. And I feel like the main entertainment and value of the episode came from those thoughts and the tension that was built by, having the written exam, having to try to cheat but not get caught, or at least not get caught a certain number of times, figuring out the purpose, figuring out the answers to questions that are outside of your league. And I think that that is valuable in a different way than action is valuable. It kind of gave a different vibe, rather than being exciting or like visually appealing, it was more to do with, like I said, like the building tensions. And that is why I decided, even though not a lot necessarily as far as a summary happened, to give it a 4 out of 10. Which ultimately brings our personal ranking list to Chunin Challenge, Rock Lee versus Sasuke. A new chapter begins, the Chunin exam, identify yourself, powerful new rivals. Getting takedown, all 9 rookies face off. And then this episode is also 5th on my list. Start your engines, the tuning exam begins. And that brings us to the final series ranking so far. And on the mostly objective ranking, tuning exam arc is now up to 39 points out of 480. And on the personal ranking side, it is at 35 points out of a possible 480. But with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Naruto Chunin Exams Arc, Episode 24. Start your engines, the tuning exam begins. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.